sure most of you have heard of the element arsenic, which has been the murder weapon of choice for many novelists. You probably have some vague idea of its notorious abilities as a human poison, but have never thought of it as being potentially dangerous to you. This video is meant to educate you about the dangers of arsenic today. Arsenic is usually found in the environment, combined with other elements such as oxygen, chlorine, and sulfur. Arsenic combined with those elements is known as inorganic arsenic, whereas arsenic combined with carbon and hydrogen is referred to as organic arsenic. Inorganic arsenic occurs naturally in soil and in many kinds of rock, especially in minerals and ores that contain copper or lead. When these ores are heated in smelters, most of the arsenic goes up in the stack and enters the air as a fine dust. Arsenic is also released into the environment through volcanic eruptions, weathering processes, coal-fired power plants, incinerators, and other commercial or industrial processes. The arsenic released from these sources may then enter the air or land from wind-blown dust. It can also get into water from this dust, as well as from runoff and leaching. This happens pretty much all over the world, and so is a concern to all people, but especially those living in poor countries such as Bangladesh, who could not afford good water treatment systems. Although arsenic has been virtually banned by the EPA as a pesticide, the wood treatment industry was able to gain an exemption to this rule. Currently, the industry is responsible for the import of more than 30 million pounds of pure arsenic into the U.S. each year. Ultimately, the vast majority of this will end up in local landfills where it can leach into soil and local waterways. Humans can be exposed to arsenic in many different ways, the most common of which is through eating and drinking. Since arsenic is found naturally in the environment and can get into the water and soil, many plants have absorbed arsenic up through their roots. When we eat those plants, or when we eat an animal that has eaten those plants, then the arsenic is transferred into us. The top foods that it is found in include rice, poultry, mushrooms, and seafood. Most people are generally exposed to about 50 micrograms of arsenic from those sources per day, which is not a harmful amount unless it manages to accumulate in your system over time. In addition to oral exposure, you can also be exposed to arsenic by breathing it in. Incinerators are a major source of air pollution. In particular, the incineration of poultry waste or feed releases arsenic into the air because a lot of arsenic is added to animal feed, so it goes into the air when these products are burned. If you breathe air that contains arsenic dust, many of the dust particles settle onto the lining of your lungs. Now, onto the important part, the health effects of arsenic on the human body. Breathing high levels of inorganic arsenic can give you a sore throat or irritated lungs, while ingesting very high levels has a much more serious result: death. Exposure to lower levels can cause nausea and vomiting, decreased production of red and white blood cells, abnormal heart rhythm, damage to blood vessels, and a sensation of pins and needles in the hands and feet. Ingesting or breathing low levels of inorganic arsenic for a long time can cause a darkening of the skin and the appearance of small corns or warts on your palms, soles, and torso. Skin contact with inorganic arsenic may cause redness and swelling. On a more serious note, several studies have shown that ingestion of inorganic arsenic can increase the risk of skin cancer and cancer in the liver, bladder, and lungs. Inhalation of it especially can cause increased risk of lung cancer. Human and animal data also suggest that inorganic arsenic is a reproductive hazard. Studies in animals show that large doses of arsenic that cause illness in pregnant females can also cause low birth weight, fetal malformations, and even fetal death. There is also some evidence that exposure to arsenic in the womb in early childhood may increase mortality in young adults. Arsenic has been identified by the Swedish government as a sunset chemical, a chemical whose use should be phased out due to the extreme potential for environmental and human health damage. LD50 in toxicology is the dose of some toxin that is lethal to 50% of a population of test animals. The oral LD50 values for inorganic arsenic compounds, depending on the arsenic species and the experimental animal, are in the range from 7 to 100 milligrams per kilogram body weight. For example, the LD50 for arsenic trioxide as administered to a population of young male mice through oral means is 26 to 39 milligrams of arsenic per kilogram body weight. In contrast, the LD50 for arsenic trioxide as administered orally to a species of adult male and female rats is 15. It appears to matter in what manner the arsenic is consumed orally as well. Arsenic trioxide given to adult male and female rat species in dry food has an LD50 of 145, while arsenic trioxide given to the same species as administered in a gelatin capsule has an LD50 of 293. This is probably due to the fact that the capsule takes a while to dissolve in the rat's stomach, thus releasing the arsenic into their system, so it takes a larger amount of capsules before the arsenic starts to build up. There are, however, healthier alternatives to using arsenic and ways you can protect yourself against exposure. In terms of eating and drinking, there are many things you can eat that do not contain arsenic. As you know, plain white or brown rice has arsenic in them, and a couple of servings of rice a month is fine. The rest of the time, though, try something new like buckwheat, millet, quinoa, wild rice, Or, if no one in your house is gluten intolerant, barley, rye, or oats would be great alternatives as well. High levels of inorganic arsenic have also been found in some brands of apple and grape juice. Sidestep it by having fresh fruit instead. There are alternatives to CCA-treated wood as well. In fact, a wide range of less toxic alternatives are available on the market today. Most of them have proven equally effective at protecting against decay as arsenic treatments. Two common ones are the ACQ, or ammoniacal copper quaternary treatment, and CBA, copper boron azole treatment. Both of these are great pressure treatments that will preserve the wood. In addition to those things, there are precautions you can take at home to protect yourself against exposure. Wells used to provide water for drinking and cooking should be tested for arsenic. If you use arsenic-treated wood in home projects, you may want to use dust masks, gloves, and protective clothing to prevent skin contact or inhalation. Make sure your children wash their hands after playing on playgrounds that may have CCA-treated wood, and prevent them from eating soil or putting things in their mouths. All these things will help protect you from arsenic exposure. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. Thank you for watching.